All right, we are working on flashbangs today. So, I mean, hopefully this one's not going to be too long. I don't really know where I put everything, but that's the fun of doing these videos. We get to figure it out all over again. So, what I've done is I've put all of my stuff in this the same grenades folder. So I've got a lot more here, as you can see. One of the things, though, that I did, and we'll come back to this in a second, is I had to move all of my gameplay cues into this folder. They were working where they were, and I guess there's, what is it? If you go to editor preference or settings, you can actually add the folder where the gameplay cues are, but it's a mess, and then it still doesn't always work right. So just make sure, so I've got my detonate in there, the new flash one that I'll show you, and then the smoke. All of my gameplay flashbang, and I've got this one. We'll go over this one in a second, but they're all in this gameplay cues folder. So getting back into the weapons, let's open up the the M84 grenade. So this is your flashbang. I think I have in one of my original videos the link where I have all of the meshes for these, and then I'm trying to think if I have. It's in my regular folder, the content folder. I've got all of the actual meshes. Is this the shooter core? That's the shooter core. Sorry. So you've got all the meshes that I've done. And I did the grenade, and then without the spoon, I just opened it up in Blender, deleted that out. But you don't have to do it, I guess, or maybe you do it. I don't know, whatever. Anyways, same thing that I've done with a lot of these others is you just kind of copy some of the previous grenades that we've done into a new folder. So I don't know if I need to go over these with you. There's not a ton. I'm going to go over this projectile. That's the only one of these that I've done that's any different from one of the other previous grenades. But before we get to that one, we're going to have to do these. So notice I've got this flashbang capture, GE effect. I'm actually not using those. I do have this material, which I'll go over. I do have a Niagara particle that's new, and then this render target that we'll go over. So really the first one that we're going to do, the easiest one, it's just a simple actor. So it is B flash. And to be honest, whether or not you need to do it or not, it's up to you. It doesn't add too much, but I think it adds that little bit that puts it over the edge. So I have an intensity of 500,000. So the actual flash that I've done, there's a great video that I saw online. I looked at a couple different ways of doing this, and there's another YouTuber that's got a video. His link will be in the description, and I've copied a lot of his. I thought he did a great job out of all of the ones that I've seen, and this flash really just kind of helped make it finished, I guess, polished. So the intensity I have at 500,000. You can go up or down wherever you want. The radius I have at 10,000. And then the only other thing it's a point light, so you just you go to add point light, and it'll add it right there. Hold on one second. The one thing that you do have to do is I just set it at 1, so you can put that wherever you want. If it's too low, it's on the floor. But the only other thing then is is it life? You just have to make sure that your lifespan is 0.1, so that way it flashes and then goes away. So once we have that done, we're going to create this B. And again, this is that was an actor if I didn't mention that. And then this is also an actor. So it's this B flash capture. And in here, we're doing a 2D scene component, right? So again, it's 2D. Okay, to add your 2D scene component. And then I'm trying to think if there's anything that I've done on here that's different. I have perspective. You want to keep it perspective. I've done like on my map. I did have, what's this, orthographic, sorry. But this one we're leaving as perspective. Basically what we're doing with this is we are capturing the screen, we're overlaying it, and then we're going to kind of make it a little bit, kind of not motion blur, but add a little bit of motion to it, just kind of give that little disorienting effect. Down here on your texture target, this is where you're going to have your render target, and let's go into that one next. I actually don't know if there's anything special in here. I changed the size. I think it's just this is a standard HD. If you want to make it bigger, smaller, whatever you guys are working on, I think that is the only thing on here that I've changed. So once you have that, then you plug it back into this texture target. Once you're done with those, the next thing that we're going to do is, I think the material. Let me go to the Niagara system first. So the Niagara system, what I've done is, I'm trying to think. So I took just the think the regular explosion, maybe the small, because the flashbang's a little bit smaller. And then as you can see, I did I delete anything? So I've got 5 here. I've got quite a bit more. So I think I deleted a couple, at least 3. So in here we only have the explosion, the omnidirectional burst, shockwave, sparks, decal, and light. Maybe I added the light. Did I add the light? No, the light's in there. Let me go back in. I don't know if I increased the light a little bit, give it a little bit of a flash. I might have done that elsewhere. You can look elsewhere, sorry. You can look here to see if there's anything that I did change on here from the normal light. But again, if you copy, I'm going to have to go through. The one thing that I have not done yet is any of the audio as well as some of the animations. I'm just getting these up and running, and then I'm going to go back through with the animations. I don't know if you notice when you hold the G down, that character doesn't really do anything special. I will do that. The big one, though, this is one that took quite a bit of work. In the material, this M Flash material, I'm not too sure what the default for the material is, but over here you just want to make sure that it is a post process, right? And I'm going to give you a quick overview of how the code works. If you want to see exactly how it works or want to go into more detail, you can go ahead and watch that video in the description. But if you just want to look at the code, I'll show you the code. You don't really care how it works. You can just kind of look at this, copy this. He does go into a little bit more detail. He does things a little bit differently, but I thought this is kind of a healthy mix of getting you just enough to make it work, but I think it's a little bit of things in there that he did that I didn't necessarily want to use in mine. So real quick, the quick overview of how this works is you've got this time node here, and then this parameter that you're going to be adding is flash time. Now we're going to call this in the gameplay notification queue, and I'll show you how to add that when we get to that one. But to add that, basically what you want to do is you want to hold 1, and then you right click, and then you're going to create a constant. You're going to left click on that and convert that to a parameter. So you're going to name that. I've named mine flash time. Whatever you name it, that's how you're going to access it in that queue. And as the time ticks forward, this grabs the time here. So as this gets larger, this is eventually going to fade out. So I then have 3 different fade outs, one at 4.5 seconds, one at 1.5, and one at 3. And so I've got this burn amount. That's where we're overlaying that render texture. And then this flash amount is the white flash that we're adding. And then this wobble is the 3 seconds. So off of here, we're going to grab that post-processing scene. Down here, we want to add the wobble. Now, how we get these named, what are these? The named reroute nodes, as you can see that here. So basically, you just right-click and you can access them. But how to make them is you're going to drag off here. You're going to right-click, and then you want to add reroute node, and you're just going to add it here, and then you can name those. So that's how you, I guess, put the inputs, and then you call them using that right-click and then the named reroutes. So in here, this is going to give us our wobble amount. Over here, we're going to input that flash amount. And then over here, we're grabbing that render texture, right? So we want 2 of these. And then down here is where we're going to actually add that render texture. So this is going to give us a bit of a contrast. It really just kind of helps make that, I guess, that flash feel a little bit brighter in certain areas and darker in others. And then this is it. So just a kind of a quick rough overview of how this works. Like I said, if you want to go into more detail, you can watch that video. Or there's other effects that he's done that I necessarily didn't want to put into this one. So this is just how this one works. So take a look at the code and then copy that. And then we are going to move on. Oh, let me go ahead and not save that. But then we're going to move on to the next one. So there's 2 more things that we have to do. This one hopefully should be pretty quick. But in this grenade M84, and then it's opened in a window off screen. But then let me go to the gameplay cues, and we need to, so I just copied this gameplay notification, a gameplay queue notification, and renamed it as Flash. Now in here, really the only thing that you need to do is plug in your Niagara system into this one. I deleted, I think the other ones they have, it's for the, let me open it up. I think it deleted on that one too. And I did on that one as well. So I think this has like the team colors on the original Lyra one, and I took those out. I'm not using team colors or anything like that. It's a little bit more of a realistic. So I've deleted those. I don't need those. However, we still need this flash. Again, I haven't gotten to the sounds. I haven't gotten to the animations. I might touch on those in future videos, but there's not stuff in Lyra that has good sounds for flashbangs or smoke grenades, things like that. And I'm going to have to probably buy some asset or make my own, do something, but just have not gotten around to that yet. The one thing that you do need to do is this gameplay queue tag. So this is one that I added, right? And so you're just going to go to right click here and you can add subtag. And then I've added flash. So once you have that, we can close out of that one. And then the other one that we have, it is a gameplay queue notification burst latent. And that's quite a bit of a mouthful. Blueprints. Gameplay queue notification burst latent. Or you can probably copy one of these. I would just make my own though, because I think there's a lot in here that I'm not using. But let's go ahead and open that one up. So this is the one that has quite a bit in here. So what you want to do is it's on execute. I tried doing some stuff on burst or on construction. You don't need anything on there. It's going to be on execute. And it might be, I can actually probably get rid of this construction. It might be an override if it's not, but it's going to be on execute. So your target, you're going to want to cast to your Lyra character. So once you cast from there, you're going to want to create dynamic material instance. And this is going to be that material flash that we just made, right? So from there, we want to promote it to a variable because we're going to have to get that in a minute. And then what we're going to do is, again, off this Lyra character, we're going to grab the camera component, the post-processing settings, and then we're going to set member in post-process settings. We'll plug that struct into there. Off of this post-processing material, we want to make weighted blendables, and then we're going to get an array, or sorry, make an array, and then we're going to get this make weighted blendable. And then from there, which one is this one? Flashbang material instance. That is coming off this one right here. We are then going to, so it's off the parameters. We want to break the parameters, and we want to grab this raw magnitude. That is then going to go plugged into the weight here. Off of the Lyra character again, we're going to grab the camera component. We're going to get the relative rotation, and we're going to get the relative location. So this is adding the screen overlay. This is going to be getting our capture component, right? And because it's a third-person character, we're not using, because it's in Lyra, it uses a little bit different camera system, I guess. We're wanting to make sure we get that camera location and rotation, and they're going to be plugging it into here. So this is our B flashbang capture, right? So this allows us to get the same camera location for our capture component. Off the exec node, we're going to capture the scene. We're going to get the scene capture component 2D and plug that into here. You can drag off of here just to reroute those. I mean, you can plug it straight in. But off of this one, we're going to set the scalar parameter, but we want to call it this flashbang because that is back in the material. Flash time. So we're getting the world time, and we're going to be plugging it into this value. And so this is what sets this flash time. So that's how we fade out. We use this time, subtracted by this time, and this is where we're setting that value in here. Off of here, we're going to destroy the actor, and we're destroying the 2D scene component that we've spawned. And then that's it. That is everything in here. This is something, and I'll get to this in a second when I get to the actual actor. This is what you can play with. This is basically the intensity. So if I undo this, I don't know why it keeps being at -1. But you can change this up, down, and if it's over 1, it's going to be a full white screen. You know, if you go to, say, a 0.2, the flash material is not going to fully take up the screen. It's not going to be totally white. And you can kind of see that in that intro video that I did where the closer I was to the flashbang, the brighter, the whiter, the longer it lasted. The further away, you know, the less effect it had. So let's go ahead and save that. And then the last one is this projectile. So I'm going to actually, I'll open this one up. However, let me go back here because there is a bit of a difference. So the 67 is the standard grenade that I did. So a lot of the stuff is the same, right? So again, same thing, you're going to copy it. However, Down here, we're getting a little different. So again, I've taken this off. I think it's this different team. Same team is plugged into here. No, different team is plugged into here. This detonates it right away. If you reroute it like this, this is what gives you that, the bouncing effect, even off your own teammates and not other teammates. One of the other things that I've done in this one is, so this is 60, this is the 84. Set up the VFX. I've done that a different one. I'm not doing this. I'm not using this one at all. So I should probably plug this one into here as well. But this adds that trail, that red trail, the team color trail, and I'm not using that. So all of the stuff is the same. In some of my other videos, you can kind of see where I've done certain things. This tag right here, this is the gameplay queue weapon, grenade, flash. So this is what grabs the, let me go back here, into the gameplay queue. This is this flash, right? So this right here, gameplay queue, weapon, grenade, flash. Gameplay queue, weapon, grenade, flash. So this is what sets off that flash. So if we're not within kind of on the grenade, if we do, it's a sphere tray or line trace, this is what causes the damage. On here, this is what causes the flash, spawns the Niagara particles. So we are not changing any of this. I moved a lot of this out, and then I am spawning this actor, this B flash. So this just gives it a little bit of a flash on screen, a little bit more, so that way if you're not affected by it, you can still see that it's a flash. It's a bright flashbang that it is flashing. And then we're going to go right into all of this is the same. The one thing that I did change is I changed this to 1050. I made the radius quite a bit larger on this. We're not causing any damage. I'm going to get to that in a second. But I wanted the radius on this one to be quite a bit bigger. So once we come off all of here, the main difference that we're doing is on this add hit results, right? So if I go into the M84, so they are actually applying a gameplay effect to target. Now, they call this gameplay queue. Now, the gameplay queue, there's some C++ code in here that plays with this. This is what applies damage, all of that stuff. We don't need that in here, so I've deleted all of that. And all I'm doing is I'm executing gameplay queue on actor. And that's what this gameplay queue character flashbang is. I think in here, this one, if I open this one up, where is it? Down here, it's gameplay queue character damage taken. Right, so on here, I have, this is the M67. Here is my M84. I've just got this flashbang right here. So I'm not having to go through and calling this gameplay effect, and then calling this Lyra damage execution and this Lyra health set damage. I played around with it quite a bit. You can actually do it this way, to be honest, if you want. And you can even, so what I've done, this is 105, you change it down to like 3, that's going to give you a nice effect. So just take this, put it in here, down here, and then you'll be able to call this, change from 105 to 3, and the flashbang will still cause damage. If your character's close enough, it'll be minuscule. And I guess maybe if you want, a more realistic game, I know there's been cases of, I'm not going to go into it, but burning buildings down using flashbangs, stuff like that. But if you want to have a little bit of damage, you can just stick with this apply gameplay effect and then just change this to 3. And then obviously you'd want to, copy it, make a new one, call it flash or something like that. But I'm not using that. I'm bypassing all of that because I don't need the damage. And so I've just got this execute gameplay queue on actor. So the target, though, we're having to grab all the way back here. And this is coming from this element, and this we're actually getting from, going back here, the sphere overlaps. So these are the actors that are overlapped, right? So in this loop body, that's what we're getting. So it's basically the Lyra character that's hit by the grenade. That's who's getting this gameplay queue tag. This math I had to do a little bit differently than if you look in the regular one. So here we just take the radius, the distance, we're dividing it by the radius, clamping it between, I think on the original it was 0.1 and 1. However, they're running it through, they've got this curve right here that they're running it through. I'm not doing that. And if you just use this logic in here, you're going to get where the closer you get to the detonation, the less the flashbang affects you. So here's the logic that I have. I'm still grabbing the distance, dividing it by the radius, but then I'm subtracting 1, right? And then I'm taking the absolute of that, and that I am clamping, but then I'm also then multiplying that by 2. If you don't multiply it by 2, the effect really isn't as strong, and it just doesn't look as good. So here I am, again, this is the radius that's 1050. And the reason why I'm doing that, so the radius is 1050. Let's say your distance is, 1,000. You divide 1,000 by 1050. It's going to give you a high percentage. If you then plug that in to this log magnitude, which is, let me go back to the gameplay notification cues. The weighted blendable, that's going to be on your post-processing settings, right? That's going to be a lower number. So how we're doing that is we're taking that, we're subtracting 1. So it's going to give us a negative, right? So if we're really close to it, if it's, we're say 10 away and the radius is 1050, that's going to give us a really high number. We're going to subtract 1. We're then taking the absolute, and then we're going to then clamp that. But then again, we're multiplying it by 2. So this is the logic that I use to make it so that way the closer you are, if the bang is here and your character's here, it's going to be a lot stronger than if the bang is here and your character's all the way over here. So this is the logic. After you have that, that's pretty much it. So you can delete, like I said, a lot of this stuff. I just deleted, I guess it's just these 3 things that I deleted and then replaced it with, you got to make the gameplay cue parameters and then plug the log magnitude into there. So that's it. That's the flashbangs. I'll be making some more videos. I'm going to do a 9-banger next. I'm going to show you guys how to have the grenade go off 9 times and apply the effect all 9 times. And then after that, I think I'm going to be working on Claymore Mines. So that's it. Hope you guys liked it. Hopefully that was shorter. It took me way too long to record that. But hopefully once I edit it, it won't be too long. But I will catch you guys next time.